Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Let's get started with this one. We're going to be tracing a children's book page in Illustrator. I just read this book last night to my son. It's called Danny and the Dinosaur. Something my mom used to read to me as a kid. So holds a special place in my heart, and I'm going to trace it. So in order to do so, I'm going to go ahead and just use Google Images, my friend here, to right-click on this picture, save image as, and I'm going to drop it somewhere on my desktop. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. There we go. It's starting to get kind of messy on my computer this time of year. Danny Dino. Hit save. Okay. A quick way to, well, we need to go to Illustrator anyways, so I'm just going to kind of leave this on the desktop. Go to Illustrator, and you probably recognize this little worksheet here. I'm going to make a new Illustrator document by going File, New. And I think that this one was like landscape mode. So I'm going to click on this button here because it was like a wide 2-page spread. But otherwise, these defaults are okay. Size is just going to make like an 8.5 by 11 document, roughly. And click OK. And then Command minus to zoom out. And then the space bar to scoot this over while I drag. Okay, so the goal now is to get the image into this document, which we're going to do by placing it into the document. So that's how Illustrator works. File, place. It's going to ask you which file, so it knows, well, it doesn't know anything, but it was last on my desktop, so it's showing me my desktop. I'm going to click on Danny Dino, click place. All this stuff, you can pretty much just use the default. I think link is chosen by default. I'm going to click place here. And then you see my cursor turns into this thing where I have a little thumbnail of the Danny the Dino picture. I'm going to click anywhere, and it will drop it kind of where I placed it. So this is a super low-res image, actually, that we are going to turn into a high-res image. So if you've got a smaller document, hold down the Shift key and drag on one of the corners. And yeah, with these lower res images, kind of tricky to work with, but I don't know, should I fill this up? Let's fill it up. Okay. Perfect. Nice. That's it. I have placed that image. Now, kind of one problem that Illustrator is going to present to me now is that if I start like clicking around with the pen tool on stuff, it wants to interact with this layer. But I want to just use this as like my base template layer. And so we're going to lock this down so Illustrator isn't confused thinking that we need to kind of affect this image. So to do that, just go ahead and click on this space here. This toggles the lock. So there's nothing visually there to show you that there's a lock here, but it's next to the eyeball, next to the visibility. Click on the lock, and now I can't do anything to this layer here. And now when I try and write something, right, like nothing happens. So I'm going to click on this plus, this create new layer button. And then I'm going to double click to rename it. And we'll call this drawing, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I'm just going to start tracing this bad boy. So let's zoom in a little bit. And this is your practice with the pen tool. So kind of a little test here. I'm going to hide my dock and blow this up a little more. Okay, so with the pen tool, the first thing I want to do is trace. We're going to basically make the sky. This seems like it's going to be in the background. And actually, I'm going to name this layer sky. And, well, let's just go from here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And actually, because this is going in the background, really all I have to do is make a blue square here. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool and actually start with the eyedropper tool. We're going to select this color. So now I have the sky color. And we'll make a rectangle and just drop it over this whole thing here. All right, but kaboom! So that's not all that helpful, right? Because it's covering everything up. But at least we have our sky color. I'm gonna hide this layer and maybe even lock it while I work. Um, okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is the I don't know. I guess the grass. So I need, because the grass, this outline has a black stroke, I'm going to choose a green fill here and the black stroke here. So let's use the eyedropper tool. Eyedropper. And I guess it's making me select the layer. Let's see. Or maybe unlock the layer. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to unlock it. So yeah, locking it down makes it be kind of unselectable. Um, let's see if there's a better way to do this then. Whatever, it's fine. Just unlock it for now. Grab my fill color. I'll come back, relock the layer. And now I've got my fill. I'm going to make the stroke black, so I'm going to click on the stroke color. And in my color swatch, it looks like I have a little black color here. You could also double click on the stroke, pick black, click OK. Okay. So now, starting with the pen tool here, let's go to my layers. So I'm going to go to Window, Layers, make a new layer for the grass. And I'll start outside the document. So if I zoom out here, I'm basically going to, and I'll do it really quick so you can kind of see, I'm basically going to make something like this, pull this over. So we're just going to make a big old hill here, like that. But I'm going to delete this. There we go. And notice that as I hover over stuff, I get these lines popping up. Sometimes it's a good thing, and I know that when we were doing like the shape building, it's extremely helpful. These are called the smart guides. So we're actually going to turn that off by going under the view menu and unclicking smart guides. Okay, so let's go back, zoom in, and just to show you kind of how I work with the pen tool, excuse me, I'm going to click outside to start. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this point here and then drag a curve. So I'll click and drag down this way. So now you can kind of see like so. Awesome. Now what I like to do, if you want to move this handle, so in order to kind of get this pointing, because right now this little handle here is affecting the direction of my next line here. So what I need to do is make this handle point in this direction. And to do that, I'm going to hold down the Option key, and that turns into this, actually I'm not sure what it's called. Let me see. Anchor point tool. There we go. Let's see here. Ooh, yeah. Okay, that's great. So let's actually start over. I'm going to show you what I did here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So under the pen tool, I'm going to click and hold. And you get this little button here that lets you kind of pull out this whole window so we have access to the pen tool and the anchor point tool at the same time. So I'm going to do that by just clicking here, like unclicking here because I'm still holding down the mouse. So now I've got a separate window for my pen tool. I'm going to switch between the pen tool and the anchor point tool. So we'll just click outside the window to start. Click and pull this guy. Okay. Then I'm going to hold down the Option key and drag it up. So now I'm changing the direction of this. Right? And then I'm going to click over here and click and drag it over. So I'm going to just kind of match these lines. You're not going to get this right at first. It takes some practice. I've been doing it for years and years and years. But that's what the point of this exercise is, to get you some practice using the pen tool, drawing with the pen tool. So now I'm just clicking around like this. Kaboom. I'll do Command minus. And now I've got my grass and my sky. So I can hide layer 1, show the sky, and yeah, you can kind of see how it's coming along. I might want to increase the size of the stroke. Let me zoom in to 2 points. Okay, cool. Cool. Next, let's hide these 2 layers, and now let's do Danny the dinosaur. Just gonna zoom in here. Okay, I want to plan this out. So I'm just gonna draw his body. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about any arms or legs. I'm gonna pretend, and later I'm gonna add this leg and this arm and this leg underneath. Let's just start with the body. So I'll zoom in here. Grab the pen tool. Notice I get this pencil with the arrow cross out, so I need to make a new layer for Danny. D, N, and Y. Okay. And then, yeah, you've gotten some practice with the pen tool, so I'm going to just go ahead and start the top of his head. And then bring my cursor right about here. Drag up. Okay. That's no good. And then hit escape and then delete. Delete to delete that. So let's fix my colors first, right? Go to the eyedropper tool, select this yellow. And then for the stroke, I'll do black again. So it remembers last stroke I did. Okay, cool. So now P for pen tool, and I'm just gonna click and drag, and click and drag. And you can kind of get this guide, right? It's pretty helpful. Click and drag. So we're just clicking and dragging. And it just kind of helps to think about it in terms of like, well, what direction do I drag, Zbarth? Well, what direction do you want the next line to go? So the next kind of line I want to head in this direction. So if I click here, go down this way. So I've got a pretty long straight line here. I can almost click, I'd say right about here, and click and drag. And at any time, you can come back, select the anchor point tool, and fix any of these guys, right? So you can either drag on the handle or just drag here on the edge to fix that. Okay. Switch back to the pen tool. Now, if I need to kind of continue this line, you have to click on the last anchor point with the pen tool. So now it's going to continue this. Remember, I'm going to ignore the arms, click and drag, and always use the space bar to move your window over. So you got to get like zoomed in, use the space bar to navigate around the document, like so. Yeah, that's it. Just get started. Just do it. See how it works. I'm going to keep going until... Okay, I'm going to get to a point now where it's like the fill is getting in the way, right? So yeah, it's filling whatever the first point is between there and the last point. So it might be a good idea when you draw to turn the fill off. Okay? So now I'm going to zoom back in again. Click and drag. So if you did that Tasty Toots video, this should be fairly self-explanatory. The reason why he made it so long is because it is a complicated subject. So I'm just doing this kind of quickly. Dun, 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 dun. Get some music on. Click and drag. And click and drag out. And now I've got a pretty good shape for the body of my dinosaur, which I will then... Let's see, do I need to fill it yet? No, let's keep drawing the lines here. So now I've got this path. I want you to look in the layers here. And my Danny layer, I've just got the one path. I want to keep drawing more parts of Danny on the same layer. So while the Danny layer is selected, I'm going to select the pen tool, zoom in, and I'm going to do this guy here, the leg, and it needs to be in front. Okay, so we'll just click and drag. I'm holding down the Option key. So if I want, so now that I've dragged it out, I'm still holding down the mouse. If I switch to Option, it lets me independently move this one thing. If I don't hold down Option, it moves the whole thing. Hold down Option, click and drag. that. I'll have to go back and clean this up a little bit, this part, which is okay. Yeah, I highly recommend picking a simple illustration for your own sanity. And now that I'm done, I don't need to close this path, so I'm going to hit the escape key to close it. Awesome. And the reason why you can see that line is because I don't have the fill on for any of this stuff. Now I'm going to do the front arm. So now I've started to kind of build up this layer, and I've got a body layer and a leg layer. So let's start renaming these things. This is the body. This leg is his right foot. Okay. Here we're going to do his right arm. So once you make a new path, it starts, makes a new layer for you. So this time I'm actually just tracing like the outline of his fingers. And then later I'll go in and add a couple lines. Hit escape to end that path. Rename this right arm. Grab the pen tool. So this is going to end up behind. I'm making the arm kind of too big, which is okay. This is all going to go behind. So this one I can get kind of sloppy on it. And I can even close the path. So here's left arm. Okay. Ugh, hate that error. I don't know what that is. Here we go. Got one more leg to do. Pen tool. We'll start kind of too far up here. Trace this guy. Like so. Again, this time I'm just doing the outline. Like so, like so, like so. Okay. Awesome. And that was the left leg. Zoom out. So now I'm going to make a path for his eye. Pen tool, real quick eyebrow. All right, hit escape. Escape to stop that. Here's his smile. Escape that one. Oops. Let's see. This, so you can see like where the low res is kind of causing me problems. Hit escape again. Escape. It's like you have to hit escape a couple times sometimes. Okay. And I'll do a little circle, a little oval for the eye. Move it over. Make it a fill. Getting there, it's getting there. Going to group all those together. So we'll do the V key, the V tool, direct select, hold down the shift key, select all this stuff. Or you can like click and drag over all of it to select it. Okay. So I've selected all those. And let's group them. Awesome. Name it the face. think I'm gonna stop there. So you can see where I'm going with that. This video is getting too long, and I got other stuff to do. So yeah, next thing I'll do is go to the body, and we'll start doing the eyedropper. So I've got my body selected. I'll eyedrop this guy. Okay, so I selected the layer, but I didn't actually select the path. So you have to select the path. You can click on this little button here to target that path. The right foot, it will just select that. Right arm, just select that. And actually, on all of these, you're getting the same fill. So I'm going to select all at the same time. So click, shift, click on all these guys. So I have all those body parts selected. Now I'm going to go, and it remembers that last yellow color, or I could choose the eyedropper, which I'm going to do. Cool. And it looks like there's no stroke, right? Because here's the empty stroke. So I'm going to click on the stroke to bring it to the front, and then double click to pull up the swatches, choose black. And now if we look, there is our dinosaur. That's still a little wonky. So I'm going to rearrange some of the orders here, the order of the shape. So it looks like the left arm and left leg need to go behind. Left leg need to go behind everything. So I'm just going to rearrange the order of these like so. We need to go behind the body too, right? There we go. Awesome. You could even make like a new layer here to come in here and do the fingers, right? Just a straight line like that. So something like that. Zoom out again. So you can kind of see where that's going. Yeah, that's it. Enjoy. Groove on it. Let me know if you have any questions.